Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chat. Hope you're all well today. Today I'm going to be talking about our strikers and our forward line. I've already done a video on our defenders, another on our midfielders, and today we'll be looking at our current strikers, different options we've got there, and whether we're looking at anybody else to add to the squad in the attacking department in the summer. So let's start with the top man who Rodri, our new signing as a defence midfielder, described as the best attacker in the world for over the last 10 years, and that's Sergio Aguero. What else can I say about him, that you don't already know? He's fantastic. He's our star man, not far off being the second in the list of all-time Premier League goal scorers. Not got far to go. He's our all-time leading goal scorer at Man City, and he's undoubtedly our number one. There's no question about it. He's the number one at City. Just wish he could score a few more penalties, but that he's going to be number one. He's got 2 years left on his contract, and I expect him to be number one for the remaining 2 years on his contract. Whether he signs on again for an extra season, I think that obviously it's just going to depend on how he's playing. And then I think after City, he's not going to retire. I think he'll go back to Argentina, go to his hometown club and play a season or two for them and to wind himself down. So who have we got as backup to Sergio Aguero? Well, there's Gabby Jesus. And Gabby Jesus is only 22 years old. He's coming through now. I think when he first came to City, he hit the ground running. He was like a house on fire, and there were thoughts, especially that first season under Pep, that Gabby would push Sergio aside, because Gabby works really, really hard, and I think that was something that we felt, I think Pep possibly felt, didn't do enough of. And Gabby works really, really hard. And now Sergio's working hard too, so that's why Sergio's back to number one. And Gabby went through a lean patch last season. There's no doubt about it. I think in the first 16 games he scored 1 goal. A bit of a goal drought. He didn't get a proper run of games, and I think he was missing his family and his friends. He openly admitted that I think they came around Christmas time, spent a few weeks with him, and he was a new man. He was a new man. In January, I think he scored 8 goals in 5 games, especially in the Cups. Okay, you're playing people like Burton or Rotherham or whoever. Might be slightly easier games, but you still got to stick the ball in the back of the net. So Gabby Jesus is coming through. His recent performances for Brazil in the Copa America, where Brazil won last night, 3-1 in the final. Gabby scoring a nicely taken goal and creating a wonderful assist. So he's coming through for Brazil. He's the number one man in Brazil. Now I think he just needs confidence at City. That's all he needs. A run of games, score a few goals, get his confidence up, and I think he can be awesome. Whether he'll take over from Aguero in 2 years' time, I'm not sure. Okay, but he's only, as I said, he's only 22. He's got 2 years to develop to get into that position to take over from Sergio. So we'll see. I think this is an important season for Gabby. He's just got to take his chances when he gets them. Got to take them, and I think that will ensure he gets a little bit more game time. So good luck, Gabby, and hopefully he does well this season. So that's our main striker. We play a 4-3-3, so we play a guy up front and 2 guys on the wings, out wide, hugging that touchline. We want to stretch our opponents, especially stretching their defence. So who have we got that plays out wide for us? Generally, I think Pep last season, he said his best attacking lineup would be Aguero up front, Bernardo Silva on the right, and Raheem Sterling on the left. So let's start off on the left. Let's look at Raheem Sterling. Now, Raheem Sterling last season was awesome. Truly was awesome. The season before, he was awesome again. So he's had 2 very, very good back-to-back seasons, and probably last season was better than the one before. So just looking at stats and creativity and threats and dominance and the way he would want to take games by the scruff of the neck, especially if Aguero wasn't around, and try and drive our team forward. And generally, he played at a very high level for most of the season. So out on the left, he's most certainly very potent, and that allows, on the other side, Bernardo Silva to play on the right. Now, there is a feeling that this season Bernardo Silva might play more in an attacking midfield role, and less out on the right. But Bernardo, moving on to him, excellent out on the right, absolutely fantastic. He's got such wonderful control. He's got an engine that defies belief. He just never stops running, that guy. And he plays with a smile on his face. He's always enjoying his football, and he works really hard. I mean, look at last season. 3 domestic trophies, player of the season at Man City. He won the player of the tournament award for the Nations League, and he won the Nations League trophy as well. So he won it all, almost, apart from that European Cup, Champions Leagues, and that's the only trophy he didn't win last season. Everything else, pretty much, he was there. He was your top man, and the way he's going forwards, another improved season, he's got to be in a shout for the Ballon d'Or. He's got to at least get in the top 3 or top 5 would be an absolute monster achievement for him. So who else have we got? We've got 2 others. And I'll go back, switch to the left. We've got Leroy Sane. Now, Leroy Sane, he had an up and down season. He produced some brilliant numbers, but I don't think it was as good as the season before. And he had some issues where he just wasn't playing a lot in the second half of the season. Now, Pepe said he knows what he needs to do to start games. And if Pepe said that and told him that, he said it openly, then obviously you'd think Leroy's not doing what he needs to do to get start games. Then we've had the contract situation standoff, where that's been a lot in, to and froing. Bayern trying to tap him up openly. Disgraceful behaviour from them. He's had a kid as well, so he's a young father, and that can knock you sideways sometimes. But the rumours are now that he's going to sign a new contract extension, nice big pay rise. It was rumoured he was only on 60 grand a week, talking about best part of 200 grand a week now. So he's going to get a huge stonking pay rise. Hopefully his private life or his life behind the scenes settles down a bit, and he enjoys that. He's playing wonderfully well for Germany, and I've said many times, right now he's the most exciting player for me at City. When he gets the ball, you really sit up and take notice, or stand up and take notice. He is that exciting. So you got Raheem and Sane that can play out on the left. Raheem can play out on the right as well. It's great to have those options, to have Raheem on the right, Sane on the left, sometimes Bernardo on the right, Raheem on the left, Bernardo on the right, Sane on the left, rest Raheem, maybe play Raheem behind Sergio. So many options. The last wide man that we utilise is Riyad Mahrez. Okay, now Riyad Mahrez, another one who had a tough introduction to City. He didn't hit the ground running. I think that missed penalty against Liverpool possibly affected his confidence, and he did look like he was lacking in confidence through most of last season's campaign. Apparently he was unhappy that he wasn't getting game time, but when he was picked, he wasn't doing enough. And he was labelled as a one-trick pony. He would cut back he was playing on the right, he'd cut back onto his left and look to have a shot. Sometimes people felt he was a bit too greedy, and he was one-dimensional. He wouldn't go on his right and cross with his right foot. But on the occasions he did, he'd fool the defender. So it's a nice trick to have when you surprise people with that. But I'd like him to surprise people just a little bit more frequently. It sounds a bit odd, because then it wouldn't be so much of a surprise. But he's got to be using his right foot a little bit more. And he's got to be a team player. He's got to be more, in my opinion, more of a team player. But you saw in the last 2 games of the season that Pep trusted him. He brought him back into the fold. Mahrez is doing wonderfully well in the African Cup of Nations. Played last night against Guinea, scored a goal, very nicely taken goal, an assist as well, I think. Man of the match, playing really, really well for his country, Algeria. So, I think we've got good options if Leroy stays. We have 4 players who can play out wide, which I think is enough. We've got Aguero up top. Yes, we've been linked with quite a few players. It is the way with City. We're always going to be linked with players. As I said many times, it helps increase the transfer price of those players to have City's name mentioned. Now, I'll say 2 names that have been mentioned quite a reasonable amount over the summer. One we can't get because he's already signed for somebody else. One who still is available, but I don't see us getting. The first one is João Felix. We were heavily linked with him. I quite like the idea of getting him, loaning him back to Benfica for a season, and if we had a transfer ban, he'd come in and we'd already have him on our books. But he's gone to Atletico, so that's gone. The other one is Everton Suarez, who is plays for Brazil. Young kid, early 20s, I think. And we've been linked a few months ago. I remember stories coming. I think probably last year as well. We were linked a little bit, but more stories this year. And once again, it could just be to drum up interest, to drum up price rise, basically, in if he's sold, to drum up a higher transfer fee. If he's not sold, to drum up a better contract at his current club, or if he is sold at a new club. Because once you've got a link with City, other clubs might start to worry that if City come in, City blow you out of the water. So they try and do a deal quickly, pay a little bit more than they would have initially wanted to get that deal done. But I'm not sure Everton Suarez will come. And I'm not sure who will come. Who else? Someone asked me last night, who else can we get up front to succeed Aguero? And I said, right now I don't honestly know. I'm not sure how serious we are in looking, because Aguero's got 2 years left. We've got Gabby Jesus there as well. And what if Aguero extends his contract so he gets 3 years? I'd like to think in the last year that we think, this is the last year of Sergio Aguero's contract, we'll get someone the summer beforehand, so that they've got a year to learn off the master, integrate into the club slowly, so they're not under too much undue pressure. I think we'd get a youngish player, aged between 22 and 24. That could be Mbappe. It really could be Mbappe. Can you imagine in a year's time getting Mbappe and having him play with Sergio as well? We could start with Mbappe out wide and for a season, or mix him around up front and out wide. I think the kid is awesome talent. He could play anywhere. One kid that I'll mention, because there's not a lot of kids coming through that honestly you can think could play up front, is Poveda. Now, I think he played in a League Cup game or two, or bits and pieces last season for us. Not much, but apparently Pep thinks very highly of this kid. But he's too young, he's too inexperienced, to get, I think, get anywhere near the first team. Maybe this season, if he stays with the EDS, he can get more training with the first team. And obviously that's a great grounding for him. Learning off the master Sergio, learning off the wide men, Leroy Sane and Sterling and Mahrez and Bernardo. I think that's only going to be good for the kid. But other than that, I don't really see anybody else coming through yet. I haven't heard any names in a big way. I've seen other people like Adrien Bernardo play, but I think they're way off what's required right now. Could we get another kid on transfer? I just don't know. That's what City are doing, scouting for talent. But I just can't see anybody coming through at the moment. And look, we've got Sergio Aguero almost at the peak of his powers. Yeah, maybe not as fast as he used to be, but he's got it up here. He's got it up here, and he's got that belting shot on him. Lot of nous, a lot of experience and expertise and skill and technique. So fingers crossed he plays really well for the next 2 seasons, and possibly a season after that as well. Guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to our new YouTube channel. We've only been going a month now. It's been a great ride so far. Lots of great content, I think, and people have told me. A lot of great contributors to our live streams and to our videos with their comments and feedback. It's all been fantastic. So if you haven't subscribed already, it'd be great if you could do so. Dead easy, just click that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out, as soon as we go on live. Just make sure if you do go into that notifications, check out exactly what you're getting with your YouTube notifications, because there are a few. There is a YouTube notification, there's a channel notification. Just make sure you're aware of what you're signing up for, because there are times when people sign up and they don't get the notifications, especially when we're going live, and then they come on quite late in the day. And one of the bonuses of the live stream, one of the things people like, is that immediacy. It's fun in the moment. It might not be as much fun watching it afterwards, because you're not in it, you're not taking part. And the fun, for a lot of people, is that taking part. See you around, Blues.